Good afternoon and welcome to the Ladies Football Show with 42 and the LGFA. My name's Emma Duffy, I'm your host for the afternoon, and I'm delighted to be joined in studio by Galway defender Sinéad Burke to reflect on the weekend's All-Ireland semi-final action. We also have another top defender, Cork's Eimear Meaney, on the line later on in the show. But Sinéad, I suppose first of all, thanks a million for coming in.
No problem.
You mightn't be on the best of terms now after the weekend though.
No, that's it exactly. Still a bit disappointed and looking back and wondering what if and regrets and things like that. But yeah, look, it's Tuesday again. Don't get long to get over it and get back into action again.
It is what it is, and I suppose just reflecting on the game first and that loss to Dublin, what was it like to play in?
It was a very tough game, yeah. I mean, the first 10 minutes I think was just end to end, you know. I just kept seeing blue coming in waves and in waves again. So it was quite intense for the first half was very tough. You know, especially when the Dubs are so athletic, they were coming in packs, not of just ones and twos, and it was definitely threes and fours at times. So yeah, I mean, your focus had to be really tuned in the last day because they really came at us and they really blitzed us, especially in the first 10-15 minutes. 2 goals after 10 minutes is quite a tough blow to get. So it was very intense. And
I suppose when Nicole Owens kind of hit that first goal, it was an amazing goal, as to be said. But they just kind of grew in confidence from there, and you know, then Sinead Ahern got into the game and she scored, I think it was 2-4 in the first half. Like, obviously, what was that like, trying to counter that and trying to stop it? Yeah,
it's an area that on Galway's part we looked at the start of the year to go at teams in the first 10 minutes and 15 minutes. It's a great boost for the rest of the game if you do start well, and Dublin capitalised on that. They got an extremely impressive start, and as a defender, seeing 2 goals going in 10-15 minutes, it is a sucker punch, and it's not easy to turn around and try and get back up the field again. So in fairness, credit to Dublin, they really came out with a plan and really came out what we had wanted to do but couldn't do it. They came out and blitzed us and took them goals superbly. Like, yeah, Nicole Owens came in and scored top of the net. There was no stopping that for releasing goals. It was a rocket. So yeah,
of course. I suppose even speaking to Mick Bowen after the game, he said that you kind of came out the 2 times you met in the league and you started on the front foot, whereas their plan was to go out and catch you, and I suppose it did pay dividends at the end of the day.
Exactly, yeah. I think we knew we needed a good start against Dublin. We knew that we needed to take the game to them, and I think it going the other way worked against us, and it unfortunately just didn't unfold in the first half. What we had planned and what we had trained in the 2 weeks leading up to the game just didn't transfer onto the pitch. We had worked on so many different aspects to bring to the Dubs, and I think them starting so well, we weren't allowed bring our plan into effect, and they really worked hard, and they were not letting our forwards do any hard work up there, and I mean their forwards coming forward as well were just.
Of course. I suppose then you're going in at half time, you're 11 points down, you're thinking, how, like, what are we going to do? What was half time like?
Yeah, it is tough going in 11 points down and really feeling the effects of the first half. But we've trained all year, and we know coming back from a defeat, coming back from an 11-point loss, you can't just, there's still 30 minutes. Anything can happen in 30 minutes, so we knew that. Girls spoke, Stephen spoke, and it really hit home that this is not the Galway team, what we've portrayed in the first half, that we've trained all year, and and we've played matches all year, that was not what we were about. So you have to pull up the socks and you have to get focus again, and you have to really put the head down, and it was great to see a kind of a kickback. Unfortunately, the buzzer, if it was another, well, I don't know, another 10-15 minutes perhaps, we were itching back a little bit, but I just think the lead was too big that was created in the first half to come back from.
Kind of were always chasing the game, but it was a different Galway team we saw in the second half. You did really pull your socks up, and I suppose nearly control the game for the most for the second half.
Yeah, that was the aim at half time, to go out and win the second half, because unfortunately the performance in the first half wasn't good enough and up to scratch. So if we could in any way have an effect on the second half and maybe put a little bit of doubt in Dublin's head and take the game to them, you know, maybe we'd see a better scoreboard, you know, see what it would look like on that. And yeah, thankfully the girls never gave up. The subs that came in made a big difference, and the scoreboard, yeah, all right, it didn't look as bad in the end, but unfortunately it was still a loss at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and I suppose it must have been nearly a bit more frustrating having beaten them in the league. Like, you're the only team to have beaten them in competitive action this year and coming so close in that league semi-final as well. Like, what was that like, I suppose? Yeah,
it's frustrating, it's disappointing, you know. You can look back at the league, but at the end of the day the league is a whole different, you know, structure and a whole different ball game to the championship. And I think Dublin thrive off, you know, the sniff of getting into an All-Ireland final, and you know, they've had such experience now the last couple of years and they know what it's like to win, and the final was in their grasp and they smelt it, I think, maybe a little bit more than us. But yeah, having beaten them in the league, we knew, and then coming so close to them in the league semi-final, we knew that we were capable of, you know, causing a turn or causing an upturn, but it just didn't work out that way, and that's the most frustrating thing, because, you know, the management team, the girls themselves, we all fully believed from this, you know, from since we knew it would be Dublin that we were facing, we believed that we could do it, and the training was put in, our heads were right, our bodies were right, and that's the most frustrating thing, is, you know, when you don't turn up to the game and the game kind of passes you by. And you can ask me maybe about the game, and it's sometimes a little bit of a blur, because we felt we didn't have control of the game, and you know, when you're in control you make better decisions, and I guess when you're out of control the decision making is worse, and it just kind of went from our grasp in the first 10-15 minutes. And but like, you could credit where credit's due. Dublin are a fantastic outfit, and you know, they're there or thereabouts because they deserve it, and they've worked well, and you know, you can see the conditioning, you can see what the work has been done in previous years. So you know, that's what I guess all teams are striving for, and you know, it is bitterly disappointing, because we felt we had prepared and we had put everything that we could have put in. You know, we have worked hard in the gym and on the field, and tactics and video analysis and all that. This year was probably the first year that we've got, you know, an insight into that side of things, and in fairness, the management had left no stone unturned in that sense. So it's very disappointing, and it'll take a couple of weeks to kind of look at it again and reflect on what happened and review it, and maybe see where we went wrong and what we could have done better and all these different things. But at the moment it's still a little bit raw, and it's still a little bit of a blur, not knowing what happened really. But that's the way sport is, and it can be cruel at times.
That's it, unfortunately. And I suppose, just dwelling on those kind of frustrations for a minute, those shortcomings, Alba Daverin, a teammate of yours, was in last week, and we had her on Skype, and she spoke about how you're sick of being the early team, and I suppose that kind of gap that still needs to be closed. Yep. Like, where do we go from here?
Yeah, like, look, as I said, it's still a bit fresh and the wounds are still a bit raw, but yeah, like Alva speaking last week, speaking of Alva, like, she was a huge loss the last day. Like, even her attitude, you know, she was there in the dressing room with crutches, and there was no way she was not going to be at that match, and she was there, but we did miss her the last day. Yeah, she talked about being the early team, and that's kind of a nerve that's cut us deep kind of the last couple of years. And in fairness, perhaps, you know, a lot is expected of this Galway team because they've achieved underage, under 21. Absolutely. You know, there's girls there that have a couple of All-Ireland medals, and it's not transferring maybe to senior, but it's not from a lack of trying, and it's not from a lack of preparation and hard work being put in. We're doing everything we can do. It's just maybe, as you said, meeting teams that are a little bit more experienced than us, like Dublin being in All-Ireland finals. They know how to beat teams, and they know what to do, and maybe we were just a little bit inexperienced the last day. I'm not too sure as of yet, but yeah, it is frustrating to see, you know, oh, Galway have so many, you know, talent, and how come they're not, you know, achieving more. But look, the future is bright. I mean, you know, there's been such a wealth of talent coming through. Absolutely. Minor, underage, you know, it's been huge. So that's nice to see, and hopefully that will come in the next to fruition in the next couple of years.
I suppose focusing on the positives though, this year, like, you can look back on it as a hugely successful year and a really positive year. Like, you had a strong league campaign, did well in Connacht, and then until the Dublin match, I suppose you were blowing teams out of the water nearly in Championship.
Yeah, like, you can't but look back and say, you know, we went one step further this year. We, you know, we worked hard. There's been a level of professionalism brought to the setup that I've not experienced in my 10 years playing. So it's definitely on the up, and yeah, right now it's hard and it's disappointing, and you can't help but look at the negatives, but you have to bring yourself up and look at the positives and say there's a really good bunch of young girls there that really want to win. Unfortunately, it just didn't go that way the last day, and I think you have to look at it and come back and go stronger and look into next year what we can develop a little bit better.
Of course, and I suppose, like, the group, like, it seems like you're all really close and really tight, and with management as well. Like, you know, Stephen has done serious work over the last 2 years, and his management team, obviously that all helps.
Oh, definitely. The consistency coming into this year, you know, you can even see with the strength and conditioning that has improved greatly in the last 2 years, and you know, there's a lot to be said for consistent, you know, knowing what's expected, and you can go into the next year like looking at tactics. You know, tactics wasn't an area that we would have looked at too much last year, and video analysis and things like that, but this year it brought it to a whole new level, and that allowed us to kind of look into different teams and our own tactics as well, how we're going to come get the better of the next team. So yeah, look, they're a great bunch of girls. Everyone is just as disappointed. Nobody, you know, took the defeat lightly on Saturday. But the main thing is to stick together, and you know, we met up Saturday and Sunday and had a good laugh and good fun. And I guess it'll take a couple of weeks to kind of look back and review it again, and you know, but it's going to be a long winter. But hopefully everyone will stick together and go forward again into 2019.
And I suppose, yeah, looking to next year and trying to keep the group together and whatnot, I have to ask you now, have you any thoughts on it yourself, or decisions made? No,
nothing. A lot can happen in the next couple of months. We don't know where anyone will be in the next couple of months, but you know, it's at the moment, as I said, it's basically disappointment, so that doesn't even come to enter your mind what next year will be. It's been a long 8 months or 9, 10 months even. So I guess maybe just to refocus again and relax for the next couple of weeks and see where the head is at then. So as I said, a lot can happen. We don't really know, but I'm hoping, you know, they're a great bunch of girls. They really worked hard this year, and you know, it is very frustrating that you know, it just comes to an end all of a sudden. You know, you train 2, 3, 4 times a week and it's routine. And we get so used to it, and you're seeing they're like your second family, and then I'm still feeling it's Tuesday, okay, I should be going to training tonight, but it's hard because it just comes to a sudden end, and you know, you try not think of the next step every game or every week, but you don't think that it's going to come to an end. But unfortunately it did have to come to an end on Saturday. But yeah, looking to next year, it's definitely positive. The work has been put in, and you just hope, like I said, that there's a consistent maybe transition into next year again.
And I suppose that kind of, you know, trying to fill the void and kind of getting back to reality and not having county football. You're back up here in Dublin, so you're based up here for work, and you play club football up here. Yeah. Back to work tomorrow?
Back to work tomorrow, back to reality. Not too many. It's great, it's a good distraction, so you're not sitting at home thinking of the weekend, so it'll be good to get back into the swing of things, and the kids are a great distraction in that, so yeah, it'll be good to get back into routine. You know, I don't think could have dealt with maybe another week off, but no, it'll be good. Looking forward to getting back to Ballyboden as well. I've been a bit MIA over the summer because of Galway, so I know there's a couple of league games left, so looking forward to getting training in that sense back again.
And I suppose, what's it like, you know, you're playing with the Dublin club up here, you're playing against Dublin girls, like club football wise, and then you're playing against Dublin on the inter-county scene. Like, would you take much from each to the other? Yeah,
like it's such a great structure up here. You know, you've your midweek matches and your training's all up here, so it's really professional in that sense, that you're not maybe, you know, waiting on to see if games can be played, you know, or if everyone's home at the weekend. Up here, you know, you have the luxury of playing midweek games. So yeah, look, it's a great standard. Any team you come up against up here in Dublin is going to be a hard battle, and I think that this year and last year that has really stood to me as an individual, because you're playing consistent games and you're getting a good session in midweek. So yeah, it's been great. Yeah, of course you're up against girls that you meet on the county setup as well, but that's good. That just makes you a better player and challenges you a bit more. So no, I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
So you can bring a few secrets back to Galway.
I don't know, they don't show too many secrets in club, but
fair enough. So you just have a few league games left with Ballyboden, is it you're saying?
Yeah, so I'll make an appearance now and get them finished under the belt. Yeah, unfortunately, championship didn't work out this year up here. We were missing a few players, but there's another great bunch of girls as well. So I'm looking forward to getting back in and having a little bit of football left.
Absolutely, and I suppose kind of balancing it all, Sinead, like between teaching in the school and then you're playing your club football up here, you're playing your county football in Galway. There's a lot of driving involved and whatnot.
Yeah, I think though with being a primary school teacher, it's a great luxury of having summers off and having, you know, your weekends as well. Yeah, it is a lot of driving, but I'm so used to it. I've probably tracks made in the motorway at this stage, but you know, it's a choice at the end of the day. If I thought it was a distraction or a hindrance, I wouldn't be doing it. So I enjoy it. I enjoy the crack with the girls, and yeah, driving, you can be tired making a round trip back up to Dublin again, but when it's going good, it's great. So
that's the main thing.
Yeah,
and I suppose we're just going to wrap it up now, but unfortunately it's the end of the year for yourselves with Galway, but we have a hugely interesting All-Ireland final ahead, Dublin and Cork. I think it's nearly the one that a lot of neutrals want.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, having seen firsthand at what Dublin can do, I now realise like how good they are and how much work they have put in, and you know, I think even going on from last year, I think they've even stepped it up a notch as well. So I do think Dublin will be so happy they're back in an All-Ireland final, and I just think experience might bring Dublin over the line, but I'm still a little bit on the fence. I don't know. I'm gonna say like Cork. I mean, maybe I'm just Dublin. I've Dublin fresh in my mind, but Cork I haven't seen a little few clips of the Cork Dublin or Donegal game. They should have shown that they've worked really hard as well. I mean, Darren was kicking some serious scores, and the backs looked to be really tight, because I had thought, you know, Donegal forwards might prove difficult for Cork, but I mean, they really quietened them and really worked hard on them. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough one to call. I think it's going to make for a really exciting All-Ireland, which is good. Cork will be happy to be back as well. So. But I'm just going on. Yeah, I think Cork have a couple of girls that have not been in All-Ireland before, so
they'd be a little less experienced.
Yeah, but again, anything can happen on Ireland final day. So I don't know. I'm a bit 50-50 on it.
I won't push you. We won't do that. But look, it's going to be a huge day on September 16th.
Yeah. Look, I think it's LGFA have done huge things, and the likes of you guys have promoting the sport as well. So I think they'll probably look to increase the record again from last year. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure everyone else is looking forward to it. It is hard to say, you know, I'll go and support, but I'd love to be there. But it will be a great day. Definitely, it's going to make for a really, really interesting game of football.
Absolutely, it should definitely be a good one now. But that's all we have time for it with Sinead in studio anyway. But thanks so much for calling in. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And well done on a brilliant year.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much to Sinead Burke for calling into studio there, and we're going to head down to Cork next to chat to Eimear Meaney. Eimear, how's all down there?
We're all good, yeah, delighted after a win at the weekend, so we're still recovering, I think, but we're just delighted to get over the line, yeah.
Absolutely, and I suppose, yeah, you're back where you want to be. You're in Croke Park. That was the goal at the start of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, you know, you have short-term goals within the league and the Munster Championship and, you know, the All-Ireland series, but obviously in the back of your mind you want to get back to Croke Park. That's the long-term goal and finish out the job now. So hopefully we'll be back there now in 3 weeks and hopefully put on a good performance.
Absolutely. I suppose looking back on the game on Saturday, playing against Donegal, like, it was a fairly intense battle, it must be said, and I suppose you probably more than anyone, you guys in the back line felt that it was very defensive, like.
Yeah, definitely it was a style of football that, you know, we weren't too used to playing against, and obviously we had anticipated that they were going to play quite defensively, but, you know, it's very hard to break down, especially for the forwards. I think it was very hard for them because, you know, there was times when Donegal had, you know, 10, 11, 12 players behind the ball, and it's like, you know, a brick wall trying to get past it, so it was very hard for them. And then for us as defenders, it was unusual for the kickouts from Martine O'Brien and that you know, we hadn't too much pressure on us, and it was just something different, and I think it took us a while to adapt to that, but I think in the second half we found our feet, and we started playing, you know, running down the wings and cutting in at the end and not going through the centre because we were just getting blocked up there, so we kind of adapted to it eventually.
Absolutely. And I suppose, Eimear, what was it like kind of from your perspective? Obviously you're playing against one of the most prolific full forward lines in the country, and you have to go in with a plan.
Yeah, I think there was definitely a lot of nerves going in because, you know, this is where we fell short last year as well, the All-Ireland semi-final, and, you know, we've played against the Donegal forwards before. They're some of the best in the country, both at club and county level. I've faced them, and I think definitely, you know, you have to have a plan in place, and certain players, you have to target them because there's no denying that, you know, they have goal scorers and they're going to cut open a defence if you don't manage that. So we did a lot of work. I think this year in particular we've done a lot of work, you know, specifically on defensive things as defenders, and then the attackers have done a lot of, you know, forward play, and it's worked out better for us. I think we can see it in the matches that, you know, we've done a lot of work, you know, breaking out of defence and also man marking and things like that. So we definitely went in there with the plan, and I think, you know, we have been highlighted in the last few games that, you know, the strength of the Cork team was in the forward. So I think as defenders we were going out with the point to prove, and I think we were quite solid in defence on the day.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, a lot of the kind of headlines had been about the forwards and about I think it's 25 goals in 6 championship games at this rate now, but the defence really did step up on Sunday, and I know the 2 goals were the difference at the end of the day, but it all starts from the back.
Yeah, definitely, and like there's no denying that the forwards, you know, the forwards that we have are some of the best in the country, and I definitely wouldn't like to be going out and marking them, but, you know, they're very clinical, they're getting the goals that we need and they're cutting open defences. But at the same time, we did need to step it up in the back possibly. The forwards had, you know, lifted their intensity from the Munster final, and possibly the backs hadn't. So as much as we were giving out that we were the weak link, maybe it was time for us to step it up as well and start performing. So I think that we proved that point on Saturday, and, you know, and as you said, Donegal have one of the best forward lines in the country. So to do it against them, I think it was a great boost for us as defenders and as a team. Yeah, brilliant.
And I suppose, kind of, what was the feeling like after the game? Like, I know there was some great scenes on the pitch. Was it nearly like a sense of relief, I suppose, after falling at that stage last year?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, obviously last year there was massive disappointment. You know, we just didn't perform as we could have. You know, even in the Munster Championship and obviously in the semi-final against Mayo, we fell short. But I think we just decided that collectively as a team we weren't going to dwell on it, and that we were just going to learn from the mistakes that we had made last year. And I think we have developed a lot as players and as a team from that last year. So obviously there was that extra sense of fear, I suppose, and nervousness. But then at the same time, it was good because there was no complacency. We knew coming up there that we couldn't go back on a bus home like we did last year. And, you know, facing Donegal, it was never going to be an easy task. So I think, as I was saying to you there, Hannah Looney said to us in the dressing room before the match, you know, she's like, go out and enjoy it. But I don't think I enjoyed a second of it. I couldn't breathe up until, you know, the final whistle blew, because with forwards like theirs, they can cut your defence open, you know, in a heartbeat. So up until the final whistle, there was always, you know, they were still threatening and there was still goal chances, you know, up until the very end. So I think just a sense of relief, and then, you know, afterwards the excitement kicks in that you're heading back to Croke Park.
Absolutely, and you enjoyed the celebrations anyway, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'd be good at celebrating, you know, that's something we can definitely say that.
Good stuff. I suppose, yeah, looking to the 16th of September, to Croke Park, to the Dubs, how excited are you? Like, it's going to be a huge final.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, we're under no illusions. We know the calibre of players that the Dublin team have. Even against a brilliant Galway side, they came out on top very strongly on Saturday. So I think we're under no illusions that it's going to be, dog eat dog. It's going to be an incredible battle out there. But at the same time, we're excited. We've worked incredibly hard to get back there, and now we're there. So we're just going to have to grab the opportunity and, hopefully play to the best of our ability on the day.
I think dog eat dog really does kind of describe it perfectly. Like, obviously Dublin are on a bit of a revenge mission after 2014, 15, 16. You guys are kind of hurting after last year, so there's a lot at stake in 2 weeks' time.
There is, yeah, definitely for both sides. And, obviously Dublin have a lot of revenge. They want to get back at us, but then at the same time, they're not going to give up there. They have the Eimear and Cup at the moment. They're not going to hand it over too easy. And, there's players, some of the older girls, Martine O'Brien, Ciara Sullivan, Aisling Barrett, they've been playing against Dublin for years, and there's plenty of players on the Dublin team as well. We know the calibre of players they have, and we'll definitely be prepared for a battle. As you said, it's going to be dog eat dog, and there's going to be no All-Ireland final one easy. But as I said, we've put in a lot of hard work, and we're just excited to get up there and put in a performance.
And Eimear, what's it like? I suppose this year you're kind of coming in from a different perspective. You touched on it there, that they're defending the cup this time, whereas normally it's you guys holding on to the cup.
Yeah, it's definitely, I suppose, a bit different. When you're trying to retain a title or you're chasing a title. So it is different this year. But as I said, we tried to park the disappointment of last year and just take from it only what we can learn. We're not going to dwell on it. We're not going to, let it dampen the success that we could have this year. So we kind of parked it and we just learned from what we can from last year. And, maybe we are that bit hungrier now that we don't have the title, and that it's up in Dublin and that we're chasing it this year. And I think, we've been proving a lot of people wrong up until this point. So hopefully we can continue to do so.
It's going to be huge anyway. But I suppose looking back through the years, I'm right in saying so it's your 4th year on the panel.
Yeah, this is my 4th year. So I suppose the first year I came in, Eamon Ryan was still there, but I was still minor at the time. So I wouldn't have been as involved with the team as I am this year. My primary focus was probably winning the minor, which we did that year, thankfully. But there's been a lot of changes over the last 4 years, but I think one thing that hasn't changed is the mentality in Cork, that work hard, and that winning mentality. No matter how many All-Irelands some of those players had, they came back hungrier and hungrier every year. And I think that's something that people used to always ask them, the likes of Breach Corkery and those who were there for years with Rena with so many medals, like, how do they come back? And they were hungrier than I've ever seen anyone. So it was just, I learned so much from them. But as I said, that mentality of working hard has prevailed for the 4 years that I've been there.
Absolutely. And I suppose kind of, you're 21, you've 2 All-Ireland senior medals in your pocket. A lot of the girls are like that as well, but obviously the eye is on the next one.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, you're still hungry for more, no matter how many you have. Those 2 All-Irelands, I'll never forget them. They were absolutely brilliant, but you focus on the year at hand, and I'm definitely chasing another medal this year, hopefully. Good
stuff. And I suppose, speaking of chasing, on the inter-county scene as well, you're really chasing that elusive All-Ireland title on the club scene with Mourne.
Yeah, we definitely are. Unfortunately, 4 years now we've fallen short. 3 All-Ireland finals and 1 All-Ireland semi-final, and we're definitely still chasing it, but it's very disappointing. We've been bitterly close every year, but I suppose I'm just lucky that I have such a good club and that we're competing at such a high level. It definitely influences my inter-county playing, because I don't think I'd ever have been able to get the opportunity or to develop as a player if I didn't have the background of my club. And when you're playing club games at such high intensity and they're so competitive, then I think it definitely improves you as a player for making the inter-county panel and that. So I can just be grateful for that. Absolutely.
And I suppose those kind of heartbreaking losses nearly toughen you up more as well, and drive you on further too.
Yeah, definitely. I think they make you, sometimes you can learn, as disappointing as a loss can be, you can learn more from a loss than you sometimes do from a win. And I think, we've definitely learned a lot over the years, and it's been very disappointing, but we're still chasing it. So hopefully this might be our year.
Absolutely, and there's a good group of Mourneabbey players in the Cork panel as well, so that must be nice too.
Yeah, it is. I think it's really nice to play alongside players that you've been playing with, nearly all your life, because you understand their style of play and they understand yours, and you can link up very well. So it works well for us, and it makes it that bit easier.
Well, like parking the football now just for a minute. You're in college in UCC. You're doing speech and language therapy, going into your final year. Yeah, this is my last year now. I've made it this far somehow, but I'm really enjoying it. I've only one more year left now, so looking forward to my last year. Absolutely, and then back to college now in the next few weeks, bit of routine and whatnot. Yeah, exactly. I'll be back to college, I think the second week in September, so just the week before we play the All-Ireland, so I probably won't be too concentrated on college. I'll have greater things in mind, but as you said, a bit of routine, and looking forward to go back now and see everyone again. And I suppose, Eimear, like the college football scene is strong down there too, so between college, between home, between club football, county football, college football, like how do you balance it all? Like how has it been, I suppose, even just getting a break over the summer from some of it? I think it's definitely hard to balance it all, but there's players, the likes of Libby Cappinger and Hannah Looney, they're doing as much as me, but they're also balancing camogie on top of it all. And when you see players like that, Libby's driving up from Bantry, an hour and a half to training. She's training with Cork camogie and football. She's playing club camogie and football, and she's doing what we used to see as well. So I think when you look at her, you can't complain about anything. I suppose it's down to management, really. I've been very lucky that every team that I'm involved with, that the management has been very understanding, and they understand that players need recovery time, and they might have to rest players sometimes during the league when college football is competitive, and look at the bigger picture, what competition at that time is the most important. So I think I've just been really well looked after by management, and they've been very understanding, and they communicate well with each other between the different teams. So that makes it that bit easier, and then trying to do my college work as much as I can then on the side. But I think there's plenty of students playing inter-county football doing the same thing, and a lot of my friends are doing the same thing, so you kind of just get yourself organised and do as much as you can everywhere. Of course, and I suppose it's probably a bit easier balancing it all now, coming up to an All-Ireland final, like an exciting few weeks ahead. Yeah, exactly. I think, at times you make sacrifices, and, it can be tough, but I think when you get to All-Ireland finals, and when you're successful, then it's all worth it. So I think it's a lot easier now facing into an All-Ireland final, that it's all been worth it. And there's going to be plenty of excitement down in Cork now over the next few weeks. Like, obviously you have to keep your training going and whatnot, but there's loads of off-the-field stuff to be at as well. So I'd say excitement's building nicely. Yeah, hopefully now there'll be a good crowd in Croke Park. It's brilliant to, 2 years ago there was a massive crowd went up to the All-Ireland, and, as support in general last year at the All-Ireland final, I think they broke another record again. So hopefully that continued support will be there again this year, and, I know there's fierce excitement around the county, so hopefully people will get up now and support us in Croke Park. Brilliant stuff, Eimear. Well, look, we're going to park it there today, but best of luck on the 16th, and thanks so much for joining us. Thanks very much, Emma. Cheers, no problem. Well, look, that's all we've time for this week, but thanks a million for tuning in. Again, thanks to Sinead and to Eimear for joining us. We really enjoyed having them, and we hope you did at home too. And we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with a finals preview. Until then, take care.